You know, so a couple of weeks ago I had hip replacement surgery on my right hip. The doctor cut my leg so that he could maneuver between my leg muscles with a power saw so he could whack off the top of my femur, dowel down into the bone, and install a new fixture made out of titanium featuring a rounded surface smoother than ceramic. 8 hours later, I stood up, and with the assistance of a walker and a nurse's aide, Hortensia, holding my bags, I walked down the hospital, clear down the hallway and back, distance of well over 150 feet. Never felt any pain, and now I don't hurt in my hip, my knee, or my lower back. I believe in miracles. Now you can say, that's medical science, Bob. Don't be dragging God into that. It's something that otherwise involves highly skilled and talented people, using no pun intended, cutting-edge technology with the finest of tools and materials with proven success records. Last weekend, a week and a day after the surgery, I'm taking a shower, finally in my own bathroom. I'm rinsing the shampoo out of my eyes. I feel my elbow nudge the shower door, reach out to grab it, and just in time to watch the shower door explode into a cloud of many, many pieces of glass. Some of the glass was buried on my right foot, same side as my surgery, with a chunk that hit just right between a couple of toes, and I could basically take my pulse by watching blood go bloop, 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 watching it come out of that spot. I kind of looked across the room. There's the mirror in the bathroom. Not the most flattering view, but then part of it I noticed was blood coming down my face because there was a little piece of glass hit me right between the eyes. Again, I still believe in miracles. So weeks ago when I was presented the idea of sharing something today from the pulpit, I really didn't know what kind of condition I'd be in this soon after surgery. So immediately, I determined I would resort to something I'd shared with the group, another group about 30 years ago. Last year, I told you about the time I was given the task of creating a message to the AHPC men's retreat at Moe Ranch. Then I used that as my sermon last year. Well, they had a retreat the next year too. And I was stuck with the same assignment. I mean, I again was honored with the task of delivering a message to that group. When you hear this, and it's about 6.5 minutes long, I don't know about everybody else, but I know someone who times sermons. But as you hear it now, and if you had the misfortune of being here last year, you may swear that it's the same exact thing. But I assure you, this one is different. Here goes. It's called A Road Trip. This was probably from around 1992. It was about 7 a.m. and I was just east of George West. Another day driving south, I was ready to give it my best. With my truck in the shop, I was driving my wife's car. My meeting was in a most appropriately named town, Far. Stopped in town, bought some air for a tire that was low, glanced at my watch and map. I still had quite a ways to go. Driving on, an amazing scene was within my gaze. A gorgeous orange sun burning through the fall morning haze. I've got to get a picture of that. Life doesn't get any better. Swerved to the shoulder too fast, felt a thump. I'd made a dead raccoon even deader. The only one I saw, witness to my driving feckless and reckless, was one disgusted buzzard. I'd flattened his breakfast. Turning back to the sun and the scene I forgot, The sun had risen higher. Colors were gone. I'd missed the shot. So I hopped in my car, not feeling too keen. My mind flashed back to a similar sunrise scene, to a couple of months earlier when we were at the coast on vacation. I had awakened early with my camera. I hopped to my station. I was at the surf, ready to surprise the sunrise. Saw another old boy with a camera. His eyes met my eyes. Got together, started to chat, and he was explaining this and that about how he composes the perfect sunrise picture. His critical eye could create the right mixture of just the right amount of sun, a cloud, a steady hand, and more stealth. Catch a pelican in the shot, and you've outdone yourself. Setting his video camera on a bench to let it run for an hour, I could tell that with that camera, he felt certain power. If that's his thing, then neat, groovy. Just don't bother inviting me over to watch your home movies. Waiting for the sunrise, I noticed a storm brewing between us and it. Bless you. I'm sure the sun rose somewhere that day, but we didn't see it. My new friend was mad, but I was amused. He was implying that God had missed his cues. I saw how similar we were, that guy and me, trying to control things, fail, then cry, "Why me?" While thinking we were similar, I, of course, decided he was in worse shape. He was convinced he was an artist, but he's just a part of the landscape. I smiled to myself and thought, this is crazy. I try to focus on God, then my mind gets lazy. Recommitted, right there and then. Driving down the road, I start recommitted right then and there. Driving down the road, I started saying a prayer for at least a minute until I glanced in the back seat to see it totally soaked by a water jug that had leaked. I swore out loud, but had to laugh. My new focus on God had lasted about a minute and a half. Hanging my head, feeling most inferior. God, what's it take to get my head out of my posterior? This was another example of trying to do it all alone, miss the goal, and fitch and moan. But as more things turned to crap, I reached a new level of submission. I'd reached the point I could make the admission. Reckon I've proven I'm not in charge. I'd hit enough walls. Caution, dummy at large. I prayed, seeking advice from a higher platitude. And I got an answer. Don't worry about yourself. Work on your attitude. I can't do this by myself. Who am I trying to kid? Last time God called to me, I ran and hid. Rather than let the Lord abound in me alone, I had life's problems completely surround me. So now I prayed for the strength to pray some more. Lord, I hear you knocking. Help me open this door. It was with God's help I came to the conclusion I shouldn't view life's problems as some kind of intrusion. Each problem was just change, I was realizing. And each change was pushing me towards some new horizon. Granted, I wouldn't be moving in that direction if I'd had any choice, but all the great things in my life, my work, my wife, my boys, all happened because I didn't get my way the first time around. God let me fail and then pulled my butt up off the ground. Now, I know it's kind of nutty, but this is where I'm at now. That that when some fire alarm's gone off, some customers had a cow, I figure it's God wanting me to listen to one of life's fine points I might have been missing. Or to travel another road, though it might be muddy and mucky. If I slip, God will catch me and I count myself lucky. I've still got my ghosts, got my goblins, but I wouldn't change any of them for the next man's problems. As life throws me lemons, I sell lemonade. Hey, the lemons were free. Look at the profit I made. Each day has its own stress and pressure, and it seems like it's more than a man can measure. But look close, get an extra perk. It's not a problem, it's God at work. And that pressure wrapping around tight to squeeze us, no worries, that's the arms of Jesus. Amen.